This short video will cover an overview of the Minnesota DREAM Act application process, who should apply, what benefits it can provide, how to apply, and what is needed to complete the application. We will also cover some next steps after the application is submitted and who to contact for further assistance in special circumstances. The financial aid application process begins annually on October 1st. Minnesota students will file one of two applications based on the student's status. The free application for federal student aid, or the FAFSA, is for students who are eligible U.S. citizens or eligible non-citizens, such as permanent residents. The Minnesota DREAM Act application is the application for students who meet residency requirements in Minnesota, but are neither citizens or eligible non-citizens. Students will complete and submit one application or the other, but not both. What is the Minnesota DREAM Act? The Minnesota DREAM Act is a state law that provides Minnesota undocumented and documented students the ability to apply for state financial aid for college and reduced tuition rates at Minnesota institutions. It is important to note that the DREAM Act and DACA are not the same thing. DACA, which stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, is a federal immigration policy. The Minnesota DREAM Act is a state law providing education benefits to undocumented students who meet all requirements in the law. Having DACA is not a requirement under the Minnesota DREAM Act. The Minnesota DREAM Act application and all processing happens through the Minnesota Office of Higher Education. To apply for the DREAM Act, students must meet the following criteria. The student must have attended a Minnesota high school for at least 3 years and graduated from a Minnesota high school or earned a GED in Minnesota. And also, if they're male, age 18 to 25, the student must also be registered with the U.S. Selective Service. Students who meet the criteria in the Minnesota DREAM Act will be eligible to apply for the following benefits: in-state resident tuition rates at Minnesota public colleges and universities, Minnesota state financial aid available to students who meet residency requirements, and privately funded financial aid through Minnesota public colleges and universities. What information do students need to fill out the application? This list is the personal information that students will need to have available to them before they can complete the Minnesota DREAM Act application. A valid email address, their birth date, names and ages of all household members, and their social security number if they have one. The social security is not required to complete the application. Students will also need financial information to complete the application. The income information that is put on the financial aid application is what we call prior year income. So when you apply for the DREAM Act, the application will ask for financial information from 2 years prior to the aid year requested. Even if your income has changed since that time, please use that income on your financial aid application. From 2 years ago, you will need federal tax returns or W-2 forms and records of untaxed income. You will also need the current total balance of bank accounts, assets, investments, and small business or family farm records. Will students need to include parent information on the application? Most students are considered dependents of their parents. Dependent students are required to include information for one or more parents on the financial aid forms. Independent students do not need to include information for their parents. In the application process, there are 10 questions to help a student determine their dependency status. These are the 10 questions, and you would answer yes or no to each question. If you are able to answer no to all of the questions, then you are considered a dependent student. Dependent students are required to provide parent information on the DREAM Act application. If you answered yes to any one of those questions, you are considered an independent student and do not need to provide parent information on your Minnesota DREAM Act application. This flow chart walks through some questions to ask to determine which parent or parents' information should be included on the financial aid application, depending on your family situation. You may need to only include one parent, or you may need to include both parents' information. If you are dependent and need to include parent information, this is what information you will need for your parent. It is very similar to the student list and includes birth dates and also federal tax returns and W-2 forms and untaxed income from 2 years ago, as well as the current balance of bank account assets, investments, and small business and family farm records. What is the application process for the Minnesota DREAM Act? First, undocumented Minnesota students should not complete the FAFSA, even if they have a Social Security number through DACA. Students should use the state's Minnesota DREAM Act online application for financial aid, which can be found at this link. The application is online and is in both English and Spanish. Before beginning the application, students can print out instructions and follow the Minnesota guidelines. A new application needs to be submitted for each academic year the student attends college. One important thing to note is that the Minnesota DREAM Act application cannot be saved once you begin the process. Make sure you have all the information you need before starting the application. In addition, you cannot make corrections to the application once it's submitted. You would need to call the Minnesota Office of Higher Education to make any changes. Before getting started, make sure to choose the correct aid year. There will be 2 aid years available when you submit an application, so make sure you're choosing the right one. Here is the introductory page. This will tell you everything you need to know that is also covered in this video, and all the things you will need for the application before you get started. You are also able to view all of the instructions and the application in both English or Spanish. What documentation is needed after submitting the online application? After the student submits the Minnesota DREAM Act application, the student will receive an email letting them know that the following information will need to be submitted to the Office of Higher Education to complete their application and to prove that the student meets the requirements in the Minnesota DREAM Act law. The following documentation will be needed after completing the application for the very first time: Minnesota high school transcripts showing attendance at a Minnesota high school for at least 3 years with a graduation date, a Minnesota high school diploma, or a copy of the high school equivalency certificate earned in Minnesota. These do not have to be official certified copies. And last, if you're a male age 18 to 25, you must provide proof of registration with the Selective Service System. Financial aid forms will also, or financial aid documents will also need to be verified and include copies of federal tax returns or W-2 statements, or if you earn wages outside of the US, foreign returns. So copies of these will also need to be submitted to the Minnesota Office of Higher Education for them to verify your application. Just a note that dependent students must submit this information for both themselves and for their parents, the financial documents. For questions, you can call the Minnesota Office of Higher Education directly. For assistance in English, you can call 651-642-0567 and select option 2, or if you prefer assistance in Spanish, you can call Megan Flores directly at 651-355-0610, or you can send her an email. And here are a few resources for families who are applying for the Minnesota DREAM Act and need more information on financial aid for undocumented students. The links to these will be in the description of the YouTube video.